Yeah? Yeah, I mean, if there was one thing that I could pass on of all the things that I've learned in 20 years, I guess it would be the ability to give up. Because I've noticed that every time I've given up, good things happen to me. And I've noticed this coincidence so much through my life that I begin to see a pattern. And I've begun to conceive of a different way of thinking, which is to say, if you desire something, it will go further away from you. And if you just love the moment and don't desire anything, everything you want will come to you. And I can remember the first time this happened to me really was in about 1989, when I was talking to some of my friends in Killing Joke and saying, why don't we go to Beirut in Lebanon, or go to a 16 track or something, and just jam out with some of the local musicians in a dirty 16 track and put it out as an EP. And they all said to me, oh no, we can't do that, think of the budget, think of this, think of that. And it really antagonized me big time. Within a month and a half of that, I had £500,000 to do that same project. And I'd given up. I'd actually decided to emigrate. And I sort of stopped. And this is because of another coincidence. I went to a psychic and clairvoyance fair, some dubious affair, in the Royal Hotel in Cheltenham on one Sunday afternoon, Cheltenham in Gloucestershire. And it was one of those boring days in Cheltenham when you go down there to see your parents, this sort of thing. And I went to this psychic and mystics fair. And apart from the usual sort of crowd of card readers and dowsers, the Bobble Hat Brigade, there was also a lecture, and it was by a number of eminent clairvoyants. And so I went to this lecture with a healthy skepticism, and I sat in the lecture, and each one of these clairvoyants stood up and told us about their work, their belief about reincarnation and so forth. And then at the end, this dear old lady stood up and got up. She said, I'm not really into trying to demonstrate my powers because I don't charge anything for them. But I have two very profound things to say tonight. And she went up to this woman sitting in the audience, and she proceeded to tell this woman in the audience about specific things in her life with incredible detail. And one's first thought was, this is a setup, or there is some authenticity to the affair. And then, after telling this woman so much about her life, she told her supposedly dead husband's message to her. And I thought, well, this could be done quite simply by basically putting together all the facts about the person in question from various branches, research, of course. And I thought it was still a setup. And then this clairvoyant came to me. And ironically, there was a couple of sort of punky looking creatures in the back row who'd come to the same lecture. And they all started grinning. And this woman said to me, I see the whole world. I see you achieving global success. She said, but the path you've chosen to leave this country is wrong. You've got to stay here and you have to make a commitment to your music. And then you will achieve all your wildest dreams. I'm here to tell you this. And I remember the feeling. I thought, well, even if this is a load of bullshit, it is essentially a very positive way of thinking about myself because it makes me feel good. So, if we choose a certain axiom as a starting point, we do so regardless of fact or fiction, measurement. We do so because it catapults us in the given direction. Right.
Yeah, right.
We have a number of pertinent questions in the 90s and approaching the millennium. The first thing is to examine the general psyche of what we are and where we belong. In the West here, we are basically, you could say, a Judeo-Christian morality fused with a Greco-Roman rationale. If we add to this the two conflicting viewpoints in the world, which are globalism, one man's idea of basically one government and one law for the globe to preserve us, or nationalism, which if you like is reactionary, which is maintaining a various culture or way of things in a particular region, that is geopolitically. So we have to look at where we are going to go from here.
Where do you stand on that then?
I believe that centralized government will economically have to break down. We're seeing the beginnings of this within the Asian economic market. And then the thing of value will be land and frontiers at the end of the day. And resources. Resources are everything. If you think about...
So you're fiercely nationalistic?
I am for nations looking out for themselves.
Sort of nationalistic socialism sort of thing?
No. Isolationism, to a degree. That is to say, a yes vote on that we do not agree with any existing political system that exists so far.
Anarchy.
Democracy that works, youth. Democracy that works.
We're in Radio 4 territory now.
No. I have to get myself into a frame of mind before I can do it.
So you do believe in the separation and division?
Let me tell you this, that because I've lived in oral cultures where one drum beat means man is in love with woman, another drum beat means man goes out and catches fish, another drum beat it means man gives fish to woman, another drum beat means man marries woman, they have children. It's an oral culture that is passed down because of the Anglo-Saxon supremacy, the idea of that the Caucasian is superior because it's of its ability to rationalize everything, to measure everything. This is a grave error, in my opinion. The man of the bush, he can express how he feels by... He can express how he feels by, if you touch our women and our way of life and try and alter it, this is what will happen.
And that's good, isn't it?
This is good. Because you must make a historical study of the beast called man. Look at him. He raids. He takes the advantage. To survive in business, you must commit extortion.
Why?
Of course you must. I've seen people that we know. I've seen people that we know that argue against putting pressure and the morality of this, and then when in the corner exert pressure, amazing pressure.
And that's everyone, is it?
No, but I'm seeing that there's a pattern that these people certainly survive.
So you're advocating...
I'm not advocating anything. I'm making an I am making an observation.
Well, what's your point of view on this? What's your belief?
I believe that first of all that man without understanding his history cannot go anywhere. And I believe that the true history of mankind is being suppressed. And I believe that is because the general public could not take the impact of the truth.
What are we being told?
I believe that through our studies in DNA and the genes of Homo sapien, we have discovered the beginning, that we had one mother in the beginning, that all of us had one mother. And therefore, the amount of changes that have happened to Homo sapien during the ages, we can measure. And I believe that those answers are being suppressed.
Does that make you angry?
I believe in man as irrational, a dreamer. You know, if we don't see man as a dreamer, when he has a baby, he doesn't say, I copulated my female, she fertilized and we reproduced. So man's natural state of being is more romantic. He has to have his magic.
Say that into the mic. And what is the magic?
Total war. Oh no, I don't believe in war, but I believe in the force that creates war. I believe that's real.
Oh, you believe in the darkness.
So, do you think
Why
war
do
will
you
always
tell me I
be
believe
then?
in the darkness?
But you don't believe in the force that creates. What's that kind of, you know?
I certainly believe that we've been tampered with, youth. If you really want to know my fundamental beliefs, and I share them with people of the Trilateral Commission, that we've been tampered with. But those who have tampered with us, even they have a supreme being. All of us have a supreme being.
Do you think we're from another planet?
I think the aspects of us are not from this planet.
Well, that's not, I mean, it's not that unbelievable, really.
The NASA photographs of Mars are very interesting. I'm very interested in this because, you see, with organic shapes, you do not get precise measurements. And the measurements that have been found by some of the NASA pictures have certainly been suppressed. There's some very interesting discoveries that Mars certainly held life. That's why there's...
Are you into conspiracies at the moment then?
No, I wouldn't say so. What I see as a reality, I know the richest people in the world, and I know the poorest people in the world.
Yeah.
And I can certainly see why things are suppressed, to keep the stock markets in check.
People don't really give a shit.
Oh yes, they do.
The masses.
As soon as everybody's worried about Japan and the yen, you know, the week we were working together, did you know that 8 universities in England were closed down because they rely on Asian students?
I remember.
It's affecting every economy.
Of course it is.
Well, it's a global economy.
History is
It's a
trading.
global economy.
And that's not such a bad thing, I
No,
don't.
there's globalism already.